Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Friday, February 3rd, 2023. Today we're going to recap college basketball, NHL, and NBA from last night, look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. Then we'll go over some soccer and look ahead to the weekend. We're going to go over the current leaderboard at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro A&M. We got NASCAR, the first NASCAR race of the season. It's an exhibition race. It doesn't count towards points, but we're just going to give out a pick. NBA All-Star Game rosters we'll discuss, news and notes, and best bet. College basketball's first. We'll go over the games from yesterday and look ahead to tonight and the weekend. It was a busy one last night, obviously. Milwaukee over IUPUI, 72-69. St. Frank Brooklyn over Central Con, 53-48. Merrimack over LIU, 76-59. Marshall over App State, 66-58. UAB over number 19 FAO, 86-77. Maryland Eastern over Region, 89-41. Louisiana Tech over Rice, 80-72. FIU over Charlotte, 57-54. Wisconsin over Ohio State, 65-60. Michigan over Northwestern, 68-51. UNT Asheville over High Point, 89-63. Mercer loses at home to UNT Greensboro, 69-49. VMI over the Citadel, 75-69. Stonehill over St. Frank, PA, 74-61. Sacred Heart over Wagner, 65-56. Southern Miss over Troy, 74-65. James Madison over Old Dominion, 78-73. Georgia State over Georgia Southern, 64-60. SIU Edwardsville over Tennessee Martin, 89-75. Youngstown State over Rice State, 91-89 in triple overtime. Northern Kentucky over Robert Morris, 65-52. Purdue Fort Wayne over Oakland, 82-73. Detroit over Cleveland State, 85-67. Drexel upsets Charleston, 70-69. UNC Wilmington beats NCAT, 87-63. Elon over Stony Brook, 69-55. Hampton over William & Mary, 62-57. Hofstra over Townsend, 76-72. Monmouth upsets Delaware, 70-62. North Florida over Jacksonville, 76-63. Central Arkansas beats Florida Gulf Coast, 91-87. Stetson beats North Alabama, 79-57. Yale Monroe beats Coastal Carolina, 83-70. Memorial State over Tennessee Tech, 64-45. Eastern Kentucky beats Jacksonville State, 69-67. Kennesaw State beats Bellarmine, 90-84 in double overtime. Stanford beats Utah, 78-72. Arizona State beats Oregon State, 68-57. Western Kentucky beats UTSA, 81-74. South Alabama beats Arkansas State, 82-62. South Dakota State over North Dakota, 96-73. South Dakota beats North Dakota State, 71-62. St. Thomas beats Omaha, 89-83. Southeast Missouri State over Little Rock, 99-98. Liberty beats Austin Peay, 82-70. Lipscomb beats Queens, 66-60. A&M Corpus Christi beats New Orleans, 86-69. Southeast Louisiana beats Incarnate Word, 77-67. Lamar beats McNeese, 70-63. Northwestern State beats Houston Christian, 94-76. Louisiana beats Texas State, 82-63. Tennessee State beats Southern Indiana, 80-76. Number 3 Houston beats Wichita State, 70-61. Number 9 UCLA beats Washington, 70-61. Middle Tennessee beats UTEP, 84-72. Utah Valley beats Utah Tech, 76-69. BYU beats Loyola Marymount, 89-61. Denver beats Western Illinois, 74-44. Lindenwood beats Eastern Illinois, 80-67. UC Davis beats Hawaii, 75-63. Montana State beats Northern Arizona, 69-68. Montana beats Northern Colorado, 69-67. Colorado beats Cal, 59-46. Pacific beats Pepperdine, 81-72. Portland beats San Diego, 80-61. UC Santa Barbara beats Cal Poly, 68-62. Long Beach State over Fullerton, 70-67. Bakersfield beats UC Riverside, 82-76 in overtime. Irvine beats UC San Diego, 76-60. Portland State beats Idaho, 69-66. Eastern Washington beats Sacramento State, 82-63. Number 5 Arizona beats Oregon, 91-76. Number 12 Gonzaga beats Santa Clara, 88-70. Number 18 St. Mary's beats San Francisco, 68-59. And USC beats Washington State, 80-70. All right, tonight's games, 5 o'clock on ESPNU. You have Yale and Harvard. My projection's Harvard by 2 total, 134 and 920. And I mean Yale by 2. My mistake. And we got here 3.5 and 133.5. Very close. But I'm going to go slightly into Harvard. 6 o'clock, Brown, Dartmouth. My line's Dartmouth by 1, total 137 and 17/20. And it's Brown 1.5, total 140.5. So for this one, I'm going to take Dartmouth plus the 1.5 and plus 106. 6:30 CBS Sports Network, Eastern Michigan, Ball State minus Ball State by 12 total 149, and a 20th and it's 10.5 and 150.5. Another one that's very close. So slight Ball State. 7 o'clock Cornell Princeton. My line is Princeton 5.7 total 149 and 19/20. And we got 2.5 and 157.5. Under. Columbia Penn. My line is Penn by 11 total 142 and a 10th. And we got 14.5 and 144.5. I'm going to take Columbia getting the points. New Jersey battle, St. Peter's Rider. Mine's Rider, 10.3 total 130 and 9/10. And we got 6.5 and 126.5. I'm going to take the over. Fairfield Quinnipiac on ESPNU. My line is Quinnipiac 6.2 to the 134 and a 20th, and it's 5.5 and 136.5. Under. Siena Manhattan. My line's Siena by a half to the 138.5, and it is 5.5 and 135.5. I'm gonna take Manhattan getting the points at home. Mount St. Mary and Iona. My line is Iona 17.8 to the 135 and 11/20. And it's 14.5 and 135.5. I'm going to lay the points with Iona. A big one on ESPN2, VCU St. Louis. Winner of this game and probably pole possession for an at-large and to win the A10. My line is St. Louis 2.3 to the 140 and a quarter. And it's 2.5 and 141.5. Slight under. 8 o'clock, Canisius Niagara. My line's Niagara 8.8 total 135 and 19/20, and we got 3.5 and 131.5. So I'm going to lay the points. 9 o'clock, Fox Sports 1. Game of the night. Boise State at number 22, San Diego State. My line is San Diego State by 4.7 total 136 and 7/10, and it's 5.5 and 133.5. Let's go with the over. ESPNU, Kent State, Akron. My line's Akron by 1 total 137 and 2/5. And this is also a really good game. This is the sneaky good game of the night. And it looks like it's a pick'em, but slightly like a half for Akron, total 133.5. I'll take the over. Akron money line minus 115 is fun too. Fresno UNLV at 11 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. My line is UNLV by 11.3 total 134. And it's 8.5 and 131.5. Then I'm going to lay the points at UNLV. And last but not least, Air Force Nevada on CBS Sports Network. My line is Nevada 9.7 total 136.5, and it's 10.5 and 133.5. We're going to go with the over in that one. All right, for the Saturday games, we're just going to go through notables. 12 o'clock, ESPN2, number 6, Virginia at Virginia Tech. ESPN, number 8, Kansas at number 13, Iowa State. That is a money game. Fox Sports 1, number 24, UConn at Georgetown. ESPNU, UCF, Cincinnati. ESPN News, A&M Corpus Christi, Southeast Louisiana. Fox, Michigan State, Rutgers. USA Network, Davidson, UMass. 1 o'clock, CBS, Texas Tech at number 11, Baylor. ACC Network, Georgia Tech, NC State. Wake, Notre Dame. We have the Legacy Classic, Morgan State and Delaware State. SEC Network, Ole Miss, Vandy. 2 o'clock on ESPN, number 25, Auburn at number 2, Tennessee. Fox Sports 1, Butler at number 14, Marquette. 2 o'clock, also number 15, TCU at Oklahoma State. ESPNU, Tulane, Memphis. ESPN2, Florida State, Louisville. 2:30 on Fox, Illinois, Iowa. USA Network, George Mason and Loyola Chicago. Buffalo, Western Michigan, 3 o'clock, ACC Network, number 23 Miami, number 20 Clemson. Really good game. SEC Network at 3:30, Arkansas at South Carolina. 4 o'clock on ESPN, number 1 Purdue, number 21 Indiana. Another great game. ESPNU, number 4 Alabama at LSU. ESPN2, number 10 Texas at number 7 Kansas State. This is a loaded weekend. That game has no business being on ESPN2, the Texas-Kansas State game. That should be on ESPN or even on CBS. We also have on Fox at 5 o'clock, St. John's at number 16 Xavier. ACC Network, Syracuse, Boston College. Legacy Classic on TNT, Hampton, Norfolk State. We have ESPN News, Bradley, Northern Iowa. That game got bumped to that network, because we'll talk about in a second. An NBA game got put into that spot on ESPN2. SEC Network, Missouri and Mississippi State. On ESPN, North Carolina, Duke. So the first time you see Carolina Duke this year. But that's weird. The game at Cameron Indoor is this weekend. I wouldn't have guessed that. I thought Duke Carolina was usually once on like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and the other time it would have been a Saturday. So that's weird that the first one's on a Saturday. Pac-12 Network, Washington State, number 9 UCLA. On Fox, Villanova Creighton, 8 o'clock ESPN2, Oklahoma, West Virginia. That game's going to be starting on ESPN News because of the NBA games that are going to be taking place, or a game that's being taken place on ESPN2. CBS Sports Network, Utah State, Colorado State. 8:30 SEC Network, Georgia, Texas A&M. On ESPN at 8:30, Florida, Kentucky. 9 o'clock Big Ten Network, Maryland, Minnesota. We have Pacific and BYU. 9:30 Pac-12 Network, Oregon State at number 5 Arizona. Fox Sports 1, Washington, USC. ESPN2, Oregon, Arizona State. CBS Sports Network, Wyoming, San Jose State. The last two I mentioned are 10 o'clock games. ESPNU, Santa Clara, San Francisco. Loyola Marymount, San Diego. And 10:30 on ESPN's a big one. Number 12 Gonzaga and number 18 St. Mary. So a ton of great games this weekend. And I wish I did lines for them, but I just didn't have the time to do them. But that is a fabulous loaded Saturday slate. Sunday, 12 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, DePaul, St. Paul, ESPNU, LaSalle, St. Joe's, USA, Fordham, Richmond, 1 o'clock, CBS, Ohio State, Michigan, 2 o'clock, Missouri State, Southern Illinois, Niagara, Siena, Mount St. Mary, Quinnipiac, Canisius, Marist, Ryder, Manhattan, Iona, Fairfield, 3 o'clock, Wichita State, Tulsa, Big Ten Network at 4:30, Penn State, Nebraska, ESPN2, number 3, Houston at Temple, ESPNU, Cal, Utah, 6:30 Big Ten Network, Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Fox Sports 1 at 7, Stanford, Colorado. All right, now move on to the NBA. We will recap the games from last night, and we look ahead to tonight's games. Lakers over the Pacers, 112-111. Cavaliers over the Grizzlies, 128-113. Knicks with the big win over the Heat, 106-104. Bulls over the Hornets, 114-98. Mavs over the Pelicans, 111-106. Nuggets over the Warriors, 134-117. And the Bucks over the Clippers, 106-105. All right, 8 games tonight in the association. 7 o'clock, you have the Hornets and the Pistons. My line's Pistons, 9.5 total, 231 and 13/20. And we got 1 and 241.5. Yeah. I'm going to take the under in the game. Kings Pacers. My line is the Kings by 1.5 total 234 and a 20th, and it's 2.5 and 235.5. Very close, so slight under. Blazers, Wizards. My line is Washington by 4 3/4, total 227, and it's 4 236.5 under. 7:30 NBA TV, Suns, Celtics. My line is Celtics 13 3/4, total 227 and 7/20, and it's 9.5 and 222. I actually like the over in this game. Raptors, Rockets at 8. My line is the Raptors 13 3/4, total 226 and a 10th, and it's 8 and 225. I'm going to lay the 8 with the Raptors. Magic, Timberwolves. My line is the Timberwolves by 5 3/4, total 227 and 13/20, and it's 4.5 and 229. Slight under. Sixers, Spurs. My line is the Spurs as an 18 3/4 point underdog, total 230. It's 10 and 233.5. I'm going to lay the 10 with the Sixers, but Embiid might not play, so that might be a little, lukewarm of a pick. And 9 o'clock, Hawks, Jazz. My line is the Hawks by 3, total 233 and 13/20, and it's Jazz by 1, total 240.5. I'm taking the under. All right, Saturday, 6 o'clock, Wizards, Nets. On ESPN2, Lakers, Pelicans. So the reason why this game's on ESPN2 is because LeBron James is approximately 70 points away from breaking the scoring record. So, that is the case. So I don't think he's going to break the record against the Pelicans, but they put that game on just in case. And it looks like the Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and Jeff Van Gundy are doing both games. Like, that wouldn't make sense. I'm trying to figure out how many points away he is. 63 points away. There's no way he's putting up 64 points against the Pelicans. He's going to do it in one of those home games that TNT's going to have next week. 7 o'clock, Suns, Pistons, Clippers, Knicks. 8 o'clock, Trailblazers, Bulls, Heat, Bucks, Rockets, Thunder. 8:30 ABC, Mavericks, Warriors, and 9 o'clock, the Hawks and the Nuggets. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Magic, Hornets, Cavs, Pacers at 5. 6 o'clock, ESPN, Sixers, Knicks. That's going to be Ryan Ruocco, Richard Jefferson, and J.J. Redick. Raptors, Grizzlies, Nuggets, Timberwolves at 7, and so is Kings, Pelicans. All right, the NHL All-Star Game. That is going to be taking place tomorrow down at Florida Live Arena in Sunrise, Florida, the home of the Florida Panthers. So it all starts at 3. It's the semifinal. The Central is going to be playing the Pacific, and the Metro is going to be playing the Atlantic at 4. And the final is going to be at 5 o'clock between the winners of the Central, Pacific, and then the Metro and the Atlantic. So I'm going to list off the All-Stars right now. So the Metro Division, it's Sebastian Aho, Claude Giroux, Jake Gensel, Jack Hughes, Evgeny Kuznetsov, Chris Kreider, Tom Wilson, Adam Polak, Zach Werenski, Frederick Anderson, Tristan Jarry. Wait a minute, is this even the right year? No. I was just going to say that's not the right lineup. So here we go. This is this year. Sidney Crosby, Johnny Gaudreau, Kevin Hayes, Jack Hughes, Brock Nelson, Alex Ovechkin, Artemi Panarin, Andrei Svechnikov, Adam Fox, Igor Shesterkin, Ilya Sorokin. The Atlantic Division. Alexander Barkov, Nikita Kucherov, Dylan Larkin, Mitch Marner, David Pasternak, Nick Suzuki, Brady Tkachuk, Matt Tkachuk, Rasmus Dahlin, Andrei Vasilevsky, and Linus Ullmark. Injury replacements. Rasmus Dahlin replaced his teammate Tage Thompson because of injury, and Pasternak replaced Austin Matthews. Central Division: Kirill Kaprizov, Clayton Keller, Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Jason Robertson, Vlad Tarasenko, Seth Jones, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, Connor Hellebuck, and Jose Saros. And then the Pacific Division: Leon Draisaitl, Kevin Fiala, Bo Horvat, who got traded, Nazem Kadri, Connor McDavid, Elias Pettersson, Chandler Stevenson, Troy Terry, Erik Karlsson, Stuart Skinner, and Logan Thompson. And Stevenson is replacing Matty Beniers of the Seattle Kraken due to injury. Okay, so the Central Pacific. Pretty good rosters all around. I think that the better goalies in the Central Division in Saros, so I think Central Division is going to beat the Pacific. And then the Eastern Conference Metro versus the Atlantic. A lot of talent on both sides. I think the better offensive talent is probably in the Atlantic Division side. The better goaltending is on the Metro Division side. Metro usually does win, but I'm going to say the Atlantic wins this one because they have more offensive punch. So I think it's going to be Atlantic versus Central in the final. And I think the Central Division is going to win the All-Star game because I think they have the best all-around roster from the defense. Their forwards are solid, and their goaltending is pretty deep with the Hellebuck and Saros. So I'm going to go with the Central Division to win the NHL All-Star game. All right, now we'll move on to the NFL Pro Bowl. That is also this weekend. That is on ESPN. On Sunday, it's the AFC against the NFC. I'm going to go over those rosters really quickly. So the AFC, so Patrick Mahomes, but he's not going to play. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, not going to play. Alternates Tyler Huntley, Trevor Lawrence, and Derek Carr. So Derek Carr's going to get his Vegas farewell. Running backs Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. Fullback Patrick Ricard. Wide receivers Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams. Tight ends Travis Kelce, not going to play. Mark Andrews and Dawson Knox. Tackles Laramie Tunsil, Teron Armstead. Orlando Brown, not going to play. Deion Dawkins is replacing Quentin Nelson. Looks like not going to play. Joel Bitonio, Joe Thuney, not going to play. And then Roger Saffold and Wyatt Teller replacements. In center, Creed Humphrey, not going to play. Mitch Morris is going to play. And then Ben Jones got picked to replace. And on defense in the AFC, you have Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson. Defensive tackles, Chris Jones, not going to play. Quinnen Williams and Jeffrey Simons. And replacing Chris Jones will be Cam Hayward. Outside linebacker, Matt Judon, Khalil Mack, and TJ Watt. And replacing Watt and Mack, Matt Milano of the Bills and Bradley Chubb of the Dolphins. Inside linebackers, Roquan Smith and CJ Mosley. Cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain, Marlon Humphrey, and Xavier Howard. Safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's the free safety. And the strong safeties, Derwin James and Jordan Poyer. Special teams, Morgan Cox, the long snapper. Punter, Tommy Towson made it, but he's not going to play. It's going to be A.J. Cole. Place kicker, Justin Tucker. Return specialist, Devin Duvernay. But he's not going to play. It's going to be Jamal Agnew. And then special teamer, Justin Hardy of the Jets. All right, the NFC. Quarterback, Jalen Hurts, not going to play. Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff. That's not so great quarterback prop. Running backs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Miles Sanders, The latter two are not going to play. Replacing them, Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk of the Niners. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown. Brown's not going to play. CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown replaces A.J. Brown. Tight ends, George Kittle and T.J. Hawkinson. Offensive tackles, Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, and Tristan Wirfs. Lane Johnson's going to be replaced by Penei Sewell. Obviously, the Philly and Chiefs players won't be playing because they're in the Super Bowl. The guards, Zach Martin and Landon Dickerson. Dickerson won't play. Chris Lindstrom, and then replacing Dickerson, Elgton Jenkins of the Packers. And then the centers, Jason Kelce won't play. Frank Ragnow and Tyler Biadasz. NFC defense, Nick Bosa, Brian Burns, DeMarcus Lawrence. And replacing Bosa will be Cam Jordan of the Saints. Defensive tackle, Aaron Donald, Jonathan Allen, Dexter Lawrence. And replacing Donald will be Darren Payne. Outside linebacker, Micah Parsons and Darius Smith, Hassan Reddick. Replacing Reddick will be Daniil Hunter. Inside linebacker, Fred Warner and Demario Davis. Cornerbacks, Darius Slay, Trayvon Diggs, Tariq Woolen, Jair Alexander. Replacing Slay will be Jalen Ramsey. Safeties, Keandre Diggs, Butta Baker, and Talanoa Hufanga. Long snapper, Andrew DePaula. Punter, Tressway. Kicker, Jason Myers. Return specialist, Cavante Turpin. And special teamer, Jeremy Reeves. So those are your Pro Bowl rosters. At gunpoint, the AFC will win. The AFC has more talent, despite the Chief guys not playing. They have better quarterbacks, with the exception of Tyler Huntley. And the talent around them are really good. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Chase, Adams. That's a loaded receiver group. The running backs are loaded. The NFC has good talent playing too, obviously. But my gut tells me that the AFC is going to win this game. I'm going to say and don't forget, it's a flag football game. I think it's going to be super high scoring, maybe in the 40s. I'm going to see if FanDuel has some stuff up for it. Doesn't look like there's any lines up for the Pro Bowl. All right, now move on to soccer. We have the games to go over from yesterday, and we will look ahead to today and the weekend. We will start in Spanish La Liga. Real Madrid beats Valencia 2-0. Today we have one game, Athletic and Cadiz. Athletic minus 300, Cadiz 8-1 draw, 350. I'm going to go with over 2.5 goals at plus 108. Saturday, 8 o'clock, Espanyol Osasuna, 10:15, Elche Villarreal, 12:30, Atletico and Getafe, and 3 o'clock, Betis Celta Vigo. Sunday, 8 o'clock, Mallorca Real Madrid, 10:15, Girona and Valencia, 12:30, Real Sociedad and Valladolid, and 3 o'clock, Barcelona and Sevilla. The Mexican Liga, Athletic San Luis over Puebla 2-0. All right, tonight, 8 o'clock, Necaxa and Tijuana. Necaxa plus 145, Tijuana plus 180, draw plus 230. I'm going to go with the draw at plus 230. And 10 o'clock, you have Mazatlan and Juarez. Juarez plus 175, Mazatlan plus 160, draw 2-1. And I'm going to go with the draw at 2-1. Saturday, 6 o'clock, Leon and Pachuca. 8 o'clock, Cruz Azul and Tigres, and 10 o'clock, Santos and America. Sunday, UNAM and Atlas at 1. At 6, you have Guadalajara and Querétaro, and 8 o'clock, you have Monterrey and Toluca. All right, so we have some women's international friendlies. At 3 o'clock today, you have Chile and Panama. So trying to pull this up here. For some reason, I can't find the odds for this. So Chile, Panama. It's not even featured either. And then Sunday, you have these two same teams, Chile and Panama. I think they split, if you ask me. All right, English Premier League, 3 o'clock today, Chelsea and Fulham. Chelsea's minus 165, Fulham's plus 470, draw 3-1. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at minus 116. Saturday, 7:30, Everton and Arsenal, 10 o'clock, Aston Villa and Leicester. Brentford, Southampton, Brighton and Bournemouth, Man United, Crystal Palace, Wolves, Liverpool, and 12:30, Newcastle and West Ham. Sunday, 9 o'clock, Nottingham Forest and Leeds, and 11:30, Tottenham and Man City. German Bundesliga today at 2:30, you have Augsburg and Leverkusen. Leverkusen's minus 130, Augsburg plus 310, draw plus 280. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at plus 124. Saturday, 9:30, Union Berlin and Mainz, Dortmund, Freiburg, Frankfurt Hertha, Cologne and RB Leipzig, Bochum and Hoffenheim, and 12:30, Gladbach and Schalke. English League Championship today at 3 o'clock, West Brom and Coventry. West Brom's minus 120, Coventry 350, draw plus 230. Over 2.5 goals at plus 108. And Saturday of a couple, 7:30, Norwich City Burnley. Rotherham and Sheffield United, 10 o'clock, Huddersfield QPR, Hull and Cardiff, Luton Stoke, Borough and Blackpool, Millwall Sunderland, Preston Bristol City, Reading Watford, and Swansea and Birmingham. And the Dutch League, Fortuna and Sparta. Fortuna plus 145, Sparta plus 185, draw 2-1. I'm going to go with Fortuna plus 145. Saturday, 12:45, FC Voldenham and AZ Alkmaar. 2 o'clock, Emmen and Vitesse. FC Utrecht and Heerenveen. And 3 o'clock, Excelsior and RKC Waalwijk. Sunday, 6:15, Cambuur and Ajax. 8:30, Feyenoord and PSV. Go Ahead Eagles and NEC. And 10:45, you have FC Groningen and FC Twente. All right, now I'm going to check if there's any more soccer. To go over here. All right, Italian Serie A tomorrow, Cremonese and Less. 12 o'clock, AS Roma and Empoli. And 2:45, Sassuolo and Atalanta. Sunday, 6:30, Spezia and Napoli. 9 o'clock, Torino and Udinese. 12 o'clock, Fiorentina and Bologna. And 2:45, Inter Milan and Milan. The French League, Saturday, 11 o'clock, PSG and Toulouse. 1 o'clock, Troyes and Lyon. 3 o'clock, Rennes and Lille. And then Sunday's loaded. 7 o'clock, Clermont Foot, Monaco. AJ Ajaccio, Nantes. Auxerre and Reims. Lorient and Angers. Strasbourg and Montpellier. 11 o'clock, Brest and Lens. And 2:45, Marseille and Nice. All right, so that's it for soccer. Now move on to golf. We'll go over the current leaderboard for AT&T Pebble Beach. Your leader right now with a score of 8 under is Hank Lebioda. Tied for second with 7 under, Kurt Katayama and Chad Ramey and Harry Hall. Tied for fifth with 6 under, Matt Trainer, Eric Cole, Alex Baddeley, Scott Stallings, Ben Martin, Keith Mitchell, Kyle Westberlin, and Harry Higgs. Tied for 13th with 4 under, Joseph Brumlett, Lucas Glover, Ryan Moore, Richie Wierenski, Nate Hardy, Scott Stevens, Chen On Yu, Augusto Nunez, Lucas Donald, Grayson Chalmers, Robert Garrigus. Tied for 24th at 3 under, Matthew Neesmith, Adam Shank, Grayson Sig, Brandon Wu, Dylan Lingmerth, Sodi Kodiara, Grayson Higo, Michael Kim, Brian Gay, Sean O'Hare, MJ Daffey, Ben Grant, Justin Rose, Dylan McCarthy, Nate Taylor, Ben Crane, Nicholas Echevarria, Bayo Hoster, Will Gordon, J.B. Holmes, Russell Knox, Andrew Novak, and Cam Young. Tied for 47th with 2 under, Austin Cook, Nate Watney, Dilly Fislipsky, Emiliano Goya. Estanlio Goya. Paul Haley, Charlie Hoffman, Victor Hovland, Byung-Hun An, Scott Harrington, Sung-Hoon Kang, Brendan Todd, Jeff Ogilvy, Dylan Wu, Taylor Hogue, Peter Malnati, Dean Brewmester. Actually, Hogue and Malnati are tied for 61st with 1 under, with Maverick McDaly, Jordan Spieth, Ryan Moore. Now I'm just going to go through notables because of time. Matt Fitzpatrick, Brian Matthews, Zach Blair, Thomas Dietrich, Taylor Moore, Adam Putnam, Victor Norman. Tied for 79th at even, Doug Gim, Wesley Bryan, Kelly Craft, Ben Taylor, Austin Smotherman, Michael Giljic, Max McGreevy, Seamus Power, Sangul No. Tied for 99th with 1 over, Lucas Griffin, Nate Lashley, Mark Hubbard, Henrik Norlander, Andrew Landry, Roy Sabatini, Camilo Vegas, Robbie Shelton, Austin Eckler, Callan Taryn, Matthias Schwab, Scott Brown, Adam Long. Tied for 17th with 2 over, Kyle Stanley, Ryan Palmer, Bo Van Pelt, Brian Stewart, Harrison Endicott, Doc Redmond, Ben Griffin, Justin Lauer, RJ Monkey. Tied for 130th with 3 over, Sam Piercy, Trey Mullinax, Kevin Strillman, Joel Dahman, Chris Stroud, Kevin Tway. Tied for 142nd with 4 over, Evan Van Roy and Bryce Garnett, Chasen Hadley, Kevin Kisner, Eric Barnes, Trey Merritt, Dylan Fratelli. Actually, no, Trey Merritt tied for 149th with 5 over, and then Fratelli time with James Hahn for 6 over at 151st. And then withdrawing from the competition, Justin Sue. All right, first NASCAR pick of the year. This weekend we have the exhibition race, kind of a warm-up race, as we are a little over 2 weeks away from the Daytona 500. It is the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. So I'm going to see if there's like a lineup out for it yet. So it's going to be interesting. So in terms of a pick, this is a hard one because so the race format, so single car qualifying for the clash will take place tomorrow following the scheduled practice, with one round of 3-lap qualifying, one warm-up 2 time for each car. Qualifying order will be set from lowest to highest of 2022 owners' points. All the fastest 4 to open. Non-chartered cars will transfer to heat races if there are more than 40 entries. Qualifying will set the starting order for the 4 heat races, with the fastest qualifier winning the pole for Heat 1, second fastest winning the pole for Heat 2, and so forth. Each heat race will be 25 laps, with only green flag laps counting. Top 5 finishers from each heat race will advance to the clash. The remaining 5 finishers will move on to one of 2 50-lap chase qualifiers, with the top 3 in each race advancing to the clash. So there's 4 heat races. So that's 4 times 5 is 20. And the last chance qualifiers, top 3 in each race move on. So 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 3 is 6. So it looks like there's going to be 26 drivers in this race. So it's actually 27 cars. That's my mistake. I miscounted one. So the 2022 points provisional is the last spot. So obviously this used to be at Daytona. This was the race at Daytona the Saturday night, but now it's at the LA Coliseum. So this is the second year with this race. So this is a hard one to pick. There's a lot of really good drivers in this race, and then some of like not so great drivers. I want to put my money down on a driver that's had a lot of experience and won a lot of big races in his past. He's had success at smaller racetracks. He's had success at larger racetracks. My pick for this race is going to be Martin Truex Jr. at 25-1. And that's my pick to win the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum. All right, the NBA All-Star rosters came out last night, I should say the reserves. It's interesting because there's some snubs. There's always snubs. There's a lot of talent in this league. And it's just unfortunate that somebody had to be snubbed. So I didn't get a chance to do the NBA All-Star Game starters and reserves picks. But we'll go through them right now. So the All-Star stars, we'll start with these. It's Giannis, it's Kevin Durant, it's Kyrie Irving, it's Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum. My problem here is that Joel Embiid should be starting, and Kevin Durant should not. Kevin Durant's injured. That's why he shouldn't be starting. That's the sole reason. If he wasn't hurt, then I'm okay with this lineup. And I don't think Kyrie Irving should be a starter because he was punished earlier in the year. The reason why he's a starter is because he's a big name and, along with Kevin Durant, helped rejuvenate the Nets. The reserves: Bam Adebayo, Jaylen Brown, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, and Julius Randle. And the coach will be Boston intern coach Joe Mazzulla. So the guy that I don't think should be in here is DeMar. The Bulls have underachieved this year and they're under 500. So DeMar and results should be punished for that. This is like if Julius Randle made the All-Star team last year for the Knicks. That's what that's like. And the guy that should be in there is Jalen Brunson, who has been amazing for the Knicks. And he was snubbed of a spot, in my opinion. Other than that, I think this is a good All-Star roster. And I think that Tyrese Halliburton should be starting instead of Kyrie Irving. But the reason why Halliburton's not starting is because he's on the Pacers and he's hurt. All right, the West. It's Team LeBron. The stars are LeBron, Steph Curry, Luka, Jokic, and Zion. They got this right. They got this all right. I know Zion's hurt, but he really has been a savior for the Pelicans. And there's nobody that could really replace him in the starting lineup, unlike Durant, who clearly it should be Embiid over him. But the Pelicans fell apart because he got injured. And the Brooklyn Nets were underachieving with Kevin Durant on their roster this year. And then once the Kyrie drama went away, they started playing well. And then he got hurt. So that's why I think that Embiid should start over Durant. And obviously, Kyrie should not be starting. He should be a reserve. All right, West reserves: Paul George, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jaren Jackson Jr., Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, Ja Morant, Domantas Sabonis, and the coach will be Mike Malone. Okay. Sabonis belongs, Ja belongs, Lauri Markkanen belongs, Shai belongs, Paul George, I think, belongs too. My problem is that Devin Booker, I know he's hurt, but he should be here. That's ridiculous. It should be Booker over Dame. Dame's on a lousy team this year. Bye, Dame. Dame, you're good. We love you, but Devin Booker should be on the All-Star team because he's Devin Booker and he made the NBA Finals recently, and Dame Lillard's never sniffed the finals. He got swept by the Warriors in the conference finals, and he's on a losing team this year. So Dame should not even be on the All-Star team. It should be Devin Booker. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is debatable. If I were picking, I would have picked Anthony Edwards because he helped turn the Minnesota Timberwolves season around, and now they're in the playoff picture. So, and plus Jaren Jackson Jr. was hurt to start the season. So I would have picked Anthony Edwards over Jaren Jackson Jr. SGA, you could argue, belongs as a starter. Paul George has been good when he's been healthy. You could argue he probably doesn't belong either. Sabonis absolutely belongs. Anthony Davis, I'm okay with him being off because he's been hurt most of the year. So some snubs. A lot of people think that James Harden was snubbed. I disagree. I know James Harden's been sneaky good, but the East is loaded, and James Harden, to me, is just, kind of a lazy player on defense still, and he deserves to be punished for his playoff failure. So, James Harden, I'm glad didn't make the All-Star team. But Embiid should be a starter, bar none. I made a case for Brunson, who absolutely should be on the All-Star team because the Knicks haven't had a point guard in so long that was competent, and then he came in, and he's the single difference why they're an improved team from last year. So that's why I think Brunson belongs. I made a case that DeMar DeRozan doesn't belong because the Bulls have underachieved. It's the same reason why Dame doesn't belong is because the Blazers have underachieved. Jeff Van Gundy came up with a great rule of that you should only be an all-star if your team is over 500 or if your team's overachieving in the case of Lauri Markkanen and Tyrese Halliburton. So there's some exceptions to the rule. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's another one. I think that is a great rule. So that's that. And LeBron's LeBron. He's the sole reason why the Lakers are in play to get a playoff or play-in spot as well. So I respect the idea that LeBron should be starting. So you never know. Guys get injured and such. So there could be replacements for these guys if it were to be that way. All right, now move on to news and notes. We'll start with football. The New Orleans Saints could be a landing spot for Derek Carr as they are buzzing. This makes sense because he used to play for Dennis Allen with the Raiders. They got Kamara. You got a good offensive line. So it's interesting. Teams expect the Ravens to tag Lamar as the Ravens likely use exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, and it can become a standoff. Oklahoma and Texas won't join the SEC early as the teams will join in 2025 as negotiations stall between the two schools. Joe Mixon has arrest warrant as he is wanted on a charge of aggravated menacing after allegedly pointing a gun at a woman and threatening her. Yikes. That's not great. There's definitely more to that story. The Colts search may go 3 rounds as they're considering a rare 3rd round of head coach interviews. One of the more thorough searches we've seen, according to a source. Aaron Rodgers shoots down the 49ers. That sucks. But then again, does he have control where he's going? I guess he doesn't want to go there. That's weird. Mecole Hardman doubtful for the Super Bowl because of a pelvis injury. Kadarius Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster trending up. Joel Embiid really wasn't happy about Harden making the All-Star team. I made a case that he shouldn't be on there. And then he made a post on Instagram, James Harden, very immature of him. Tyrese Halliburton came back last night against Lakers after missing 10 games due to knee and elbow injuries. Then they still lost. There was a chaotic ending to the Knicks Heat game last night, and Jalen Brunson did not play because he was sick. As Tyler Herro barely misses the game-winning 3 after what was a hectic final 30 seconds of regulation. It was one of the messiest 30 seconds you'll ever see. The Knicks literally wanted to throw that game away, but they didn't. 92,000 tickets. That's the price to see LeBron break the record. And that's the ticket price on Tuesday, which is nuts. The Blazers are pursuing Utah Jazz player Jared Vanderbilt, who appears increasingly likely to be traded. 6-7 teams are in on OG Anunoby. Zach LaVine's on the trade block. Some interesting landing spots. The Lakers, the Mavs, the Knicks, and the Heat. I hate the Knicks fit for him. Dallas, that's that could be the second coming of the Porzingis experience. The Lakers, I think it would make sense for Miami because I think that Levine would have success there with Butler and Bam. So I think that makes sense. There was a brawl last night in the Cavs-Grizzlies game in where Dylan Brooks intentionally tripped Donovan Mitchell. They call a foul, and then Mitchell punched Brooks. It was a big blow-up, and then both players got ejected, and the Cavs went on to win that game big. That was wild. And then Mitchell says he's been busting his Dylan Brooks' ass for years when explaining the scuffle. Chris Haynes just tweeted 4 minutes ago that the Lakers have had conversations with the Utah Jazz centered on Russell Westbrook. Ooh, they clearly don't want Russell Westbrook. Are they trying to get Lauri Markkanen or something? That wouldn't make sense, though. It would probably be... Jeez. They would have to get something real good back from Utah. Mike Conley. I mean, if those picks are not in the deal, then Conley for straight up, maybe. There's some small stuff going either way. There's a wild college basketball NIL underwear deal as Clemson's Brevin Galloway announced his deal with underwear brand after undergoing surgery last week for his testicular torsion, which sounds gross, but that makes more sense now that he did that surgery. Now these branding with an underwear. Iowa calls out the Illinois fans as the Hawkeyes canceled 200 tickets for Saturday's game, saying the Illinois fan group used Boys and Girls Club as a cover for discount. Yikes. And the New York Liberty make yet another monster signing. Courtney Vandersloot is joining the new super team in New York with Joquel Jones and Spritty Ionescu and new addition Brianna Stewart. This is the best team in New York right now. That's not really fair to say to the Yankees. It's not fair to the Nets, and it's not fair to the Rangers, but it's just the reality of the situation. And it's not fair to the Mets. The Liberty might have passed all those teams with these signings. They, I think, are now the most likely New York team to win a championship. Or the next team in New York to win a championship, for sure. And those 4 teams I mentioned, that are all championship caliber. I don't know about the Nets, but the 2 baseball teams and the Rangers, you could make a case all are. And then Brooklyn, if things are going right, you could argue they're championship caliber too, especially if Kevin Durant's playing at a high level. But the Liberty right now are the best team in New York and most likely to win a championship next with these 2 signings. So a lot of pressure on that team to have success next year. They have to go to the finals, if not win it, for their season to be considered a success. And this is New York. This isn't the Indiana Fever. This isn't the Connecticut Sun. This is the New York Liberty. I think there's some what-ifs with this as well, and I honestly don't think, I know this is going to sound controversial, but if the Liberty are still owned by James Dolan, I don't think these signings happen. Or maybe they do, but it's funny how the Liberty are getting all the free agents now that they are not owned by the Garden and James Dolan anymore. It's not a good look for the Knicks. But it's just reality of the situation. Joe Tsai, Kevin Durant deserve a lot of credit for the recruiting. And yes, I am giving KD credit because he openly recruited Stewie. And then Stewie going to the Liberty, which leads Courtney Vandersloot to going there. So, great week for the New York Liberty for sure. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. So, there's some interesting ones, to say the least. I don't like any of them in soccer, so I have to go with either the NBA or the NHL. I gotta admit, I hate going with NBA totals. They bother me. But it looks like I do have to go with an under. And the one I'm going to go with is stuck between two of them. I'm actually going to go with the under the Portland-Washington game. That is way too high at 236.5. I'm going to lay a half unit on it. So under 236.5 between the Blazers and the Wizards for my best bet of the day. All right, that's it for the show. I'll be back on Monday recapping everything from the weekend, including the Pro Bowl and the NHL All-Star Game. Then we'll look ahead to everything going on throughout the week during next week. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, everyone.